Chester and Gus by Cammie McGovern. My job. Doing my job well is the best way I can reassure Penny that I'm not wasting my talents. The problem is I'm not so great at it yet. My main job is helping Gus get to know other children in the class, which I thought would be easy because so many of them, especially girls, like sitting on my mat with me. Some of them use my stomach as a pillow, which always makes me nervous. Dogs aren't great pillows because we have to breathe and scratch sometimes. It also turns out that even though a lot of kids come over to pet me, Gus still doesn't notice them much. Sometimes he hums louder to drown out anything they might say. Because she wants to get more kids talking to Gus, Miss Winger added to the list of rules above my mat. Now below the two big rules. You must finish all your work before you visit with Chester, and absolutely no food or treats for Chester. She has added, while you sit with Chester, remember to include Gus. I know the rule because Miss Cooper reads them to every child who comes over. She's helping me do my job, I guess. Some kids will talk a little bit to Gus. They'll ask questions like, have you ever trimmed Chester's toenails? Or do you ever put clothes on him? Both of these are terrible ideas, but still it makes me sad that Gus doesn't even seem to hear them. I try to think of ways I can help Gus notice other kids and play with them more. I see Miss Winger try too, but it's hard. She pairs him with Freddie, the nicest boy in class, to play a game with, and Gus sits twisted around in his seat the whole time to stare out the window. There is one boy Gus notices, though I wish he wouldn't. His name is Ed, and he isn't very nice. He still thinks it's unfair that Gus gets to have a dog in school. Sometimes he stops by our corner to say so. I'd love to bring my dog, that's for sure, but I can't. Some people don't have to follow the rules, I guess. Ed scares me on the playground. He pretends he's being nice and starts games like trip tag, which is like freeze tag, except if you're frozen, you're allowed to trip people running by you. It's an awful game. The teachers don't stop him because he's smart and plays it away from where they're standing. Sometimes during trip tag, Ed will hide inside a tunnel under the climbing structure waiting for other kids to run by so he can jump out and scare them. It reminds me of the spooky walk and I hate it. I wish Gus didn't notice Ed, but unfortunately he does. Gus stands near that tunnel and waits for Ed to scare someone. I don't understand why he liked it until I went to Fright Fest, and now I do. Ed is like the zombies in the park. Ed scares me, I once told Gus. He didn't answer. He only rocked faster in his chair because he likes hearing Ed's name. Instead of Ed, I wish Gus would notice the one girl who comes over to my corner and talks to me every day. Her name is Amelia, and she doesn't have any friends either. Amelia is very smart, I think, but she cries a lot in school, which you're not supposed to do when you're in 5th grade. I don't think she can help it. She hates things like changes in the schedule, which Gus hates too. But usually he doesn't cry. He just squeaks and flaps his hands. And sometimes he refuses to move. One thing that helps Amelia is burying her face on the side of my neck and pretending she's not crying. I don't know if she fools other people or not. She doesn't fool me because I can feel her tears. Amelia is a math whiz, which means she goes next door to Miss Palmer's room for an extra period every day to do advanced math work. Miss Palmer once came in our room to return Amelia's math sheet, and I heard her say, "This is 8th grade level math, Amelia. I'm very proud of you." I don't think Amelia cares about math that much, even though she's good at it. She cares about the girls who won't let her sit with them at lunch. She also cares about the boys who make fun of her because she cries too much, even though she can't help it. Today, Amelia feels so sad. She asked Miss Winger if she can skip math and sit in the corner with Gus and me. I suppose that's okay for one day, Miss Winger says. Remember, if Gus has to go anywhere, though, Chester goes with him. Amelia lays her head on my side. I wish you were my dog, she whispers. I look over at Gus and notice something interesting. He's looking at Amelia. He wants to tell her something, but his mouth doesn't work, so he does something I've only ever seen him do with Mama. The corner of his mouth goes up. He's smiling at Amelia. I have never seen him do this before with another child. I look back at Amelia, but she doesn't see it. I lick her hand again and point my nose at Gus. Look, I try to say. He likes you, I think. He doesn't care if you cry too much. Right then, we're interrupted by Miss Palmer's voice. Amelia, you're 10 minutes late for math. That means you'll be staying in for 10 minutes of your recess. Miss Winger comes over to whisper. Oh, I'm sorry, Pauline. I should have sent someone down to tell you. Amelia's having a hard afternoon. I told her it was okay to stay here for a little while and have some dog time. Dog time? Is that what you said, Maureen? Dog time? It helps her regroup so the whole day isn't wasted for her. If you want to give me her work, I'll be sure to have her do it later. Dog time isn't on the schedule, Maureen. You know that, right? Do you remember our schedule? Do you remember we're getting these kids ready for middle school? Last time I checked, there's no dog time in middle school. Miss Palmer is very old. She wears shoes that look like they hurt her feet. If she wasn't so mean, I'd feel sorry for Miss Palmer. No, of course there isn't, Pauline, but I believe in offering students whatever support I can in order for them to have the most productive day possible. Some kids need a little more flexibility than others, right? Now Miss Palmer leans closer to Miss Winger, who is trying to hold her ground. You shouldn't be here at all, Maureen. A dog in school doesn't help children get any work done. He's a distraction, that's all. After she leaves, I look over at Gus. He's not smiling anymore. He's chewing on his hand like maybe he's worried for Amelia. It's hard to tell for sure. Maybe he just doesn't like teachers fighting near him. But then he looks down at Amelia, he rocks a little, looks away, and then back. He's doing something else I've never seen him do before. He's not looking at her, but he's holding out one of his hands like he wants to touch her hand that's resting on my side. I watch it move slowly for a long time. It reminds me of the first night I met Gus, when Mark stood for a long time, almost touching his shoulder. This feels like that. Gus never touches her hand, but he wants to, I can tell, which is definitely different. Spider watches. It's been a hard week for Gus, and Sarah's worried. I don't know if it's related, but ever since Miss Palmer yelled at Miss Winger about Amelia, Gus has been chewing on his hand more, and twice he's wet his pants at school. It's hard to figure Gus out. He'll have a breakthrough one day when he smiles at someone like she might be his friend, and then the next day he'll cry for no reason and say "nis" to anything anyone offers him. That's what happened the day after he almost touched Amelia's hand. By the end of the day, Gus had cried so much, Miss Winger knelt down next to his chair and whispered, I'm sorry this has been such a hard day for you, Gus. Would it help if you spent the last 10 minutes with your sparkly pen? He didn't say anything, of course, but still she pulled it out from behind her back and handed it to him, which was nice of her. Usually he has to work much harder to earn time with his pen. We'll try for a better day tomorrow, she said, and the next day he had one. He even laughed at a joke Ed made that I wish he hadn't, but still, it was nice to see him laugh. Sarah thinks he's worried about losing me again, the way I got lost at Fright Fest. I wish I could tell her. I don't think that's it. Something else is going on. I wish I could tell her what I see at school. These new things seem bad, but they might also be good. I wish I could describe the way he looked at Amelia, like he wanted to cheer her up. Gus is getting used to me, but still, it's hard for him to have me around too much. Sometimes he likes it. Early in the morning, he'll wake up and I'll hear him say hi to me. Sometimes he'll even reach out a hand for me to lick, or I'll put my chin on the edge of his bread and breathe on his neck. In different ways, he tells me he likes the feel of my whiskers, but he doesn't want anyone else to know that, so those are private times. We don't let anyone else see. Other times, like after a long day at school, he just wants to be alone, rocking in his bed and hitting his head against the wall. I get nervous when he's like that. I want to sit in his room and keep an eye on him. Nis! He'll scream, and Sarah will come up and take me out of the room. I don't like to leave his room, because if Gus is my person and helping him is my job, I need to stay nearby. But I also understand that sometimes having a job means lying outside someone's door and waiting for them to need you again, so that's what I do. Some nights he'll let me sleep in his room with him. Those are nice nights. If he can't fall asleep, he tells me the things that scare him. They aren't things other people are scared of, which I understand. I remember the thunderstorm that didn't scare other dogs, only me. Gus tells me he's scared of the bouncing balls at recess, of food on his plate touching, and of spiders crawling over his face at night. Out of all the things, he's most scared of the spiders on his face. It's okay, I tell him. I'll stay awake. I'll keep away spiders. I do too, for most of the night, till I realize in the dark I can't really see one, and spiders have no smell. So I let my eyes close for a little while after that, but I'm here. If anything wakes him up, I'm right here. This is what you do when you're a dog and you found your person.